Well, Dr. Anthony Fauci, thank you, sir, for joining us.
Good to be with you. Thank you for having me.
With the approval now of booster shots for 12 to 15-year-olds, give us some insight in terms of, well, when it's administered, how long does it take for a booster shot to kick in and provide the additional protection that comes with it? And how much additional protection are we talking about?
Well, in answer to your first question, you start to get an effect from 7 to 14 days after the boost. Around 28 days, it peaks, and hopefully it'll stay up there for a considerable period of time. The thing that is extraordinary and why we are asking people, in some respects, pleading with people who are vaccinated to get boosted and who are unvaccinated to get vaccinated, because the degree of additional protection you get from a boost, including against Omicron. So Omicron evades a bit the immune response of the vaccine. However, when you boost, you bring it right back up to a very high level. Boosters are extraordinarily helpful, particularly to prevent you from getting severe disease and hospitalization. And if you look at the people right now who are in hospitals, they're overwhelmingly weighted towards unvaccinated. And very, very, very rarely do you see a boosted person get severe enough ill to be hospitalized or die. It happens because, there's a lot of variability of people's ability to respond, but for the most part, it's very protective.
Given the importance of boosters, then what is the most likely time frame for approving boosters for children 5 to 11 who don't have weakened immune systems, but are obviously at heightened risk because they're being back in school during the Omicron wave?
Yeah, I think that's important, Craig. We don't know the answer to that because it is very likely, since children have such a powerful immune response, that their immune response might stay way up there longer than a young adult or an elderly. So what's being done right now is that since vaccinations were just recently approved for the 5 to 11, there really isn't any need to give them a booster now because they've only been essentially vaccinated just a very recent period of time ago.
With the long lines for getting tested and the current strain on supply of at-home tests, what is the clarity on getting tested? If you've been exposed to someone with COVID but do not have symptoms yourself, should you get tested or not get tested? Basically, under what circumstances do you test at this point or not test?
Okay, if you are vaccinated and boosted and you are exposed to a person who is infected, you do not need to quarantine, okay? If you are vaccinated but not boosted or unvaccinated, you need to quarantine for 5 days. And at the end of the 5 days, if you don't have any symptoms and don't develop symptoms, you get a quick antigen test. If that is negative, you go out after 5 days with a strict wearing of a mask. If it turns out to be positive, then you go into what's called isolation.
Do you take stock in the current models that the Omicron wave will peak later this month? And at which point do you think a best guess it may effectively be behind us?
Well, if you look at what happened in South Africa, it was a few weeks into the recognition of it. So it was about 3 to 4 weeks. It was going on likely even before they recognized it because such a large proportion of the people are actually either without symptoms or low grade symptoms. We're starting to see that turnaround in the UK, particularly in London, which was the epicenter of their outbreak. So although it is always difficult to predict, and I say this, that this is with great caution, that the best guesstimate will be that it will be about 3 weeks from now, 2 to 3 weeks, as we get to the end of January. Remember now, since we have a large country and we still have over 30 million people who are eligible to be vaccinated who have not been vaccinated, it might take a little bit longer. and it might be drawn out in its decline as opposed to a high up and way down. We hope it is the latter, high up and way down, but we're just going to have to wait and see.
Dr. Fauci, thank you very much for your time and insight.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.